Hi, I'm Darnell, Wave Over Recipes, and this is my review of the CERAMAX Electric Cooker. So let's go ahead and get it unboxed. Alright, so now that we got everything unboxed, let's see what it comes with. It's got a manual here. It's a pretty small manual. It's got a power cord here. We'll talk about the power information in a moment, but basically that plugs into the handle of the pot here like that. And so this is the main cooking unit pot here, and there's a steamer insert here, and there's also the lid that's got a little steamer hole for steaming. So the lid is optional whenever you feel the need to put the lid on. The steamer you would use like if you wanted to put some water in the bottom and maybe put some veggies or something in and steam those. You could use a steamer insert that way. And the main unit has temperature controls. I'll be showing you a close-up of those in a moment, but there's a little lever here that you just kind of snap to go through between your different temperature settings. Now they say that the exterior of this pot is cool to the touch when it's running, and we will certainly test that out and see how cool it is. And the cooker is just 800 watts, so not a very high wattage cooker, and at that low of a wattage you might even be able to get away with two on the same power plug and be able to use two of these pots at the same time. But still, you know, you want to be careful. You don't want to overload a circuit or something, but it's a low wattage cooker as far as cookers go. Now they say that you can use this for a lot of different uses, such as broil, stew, steam, saute, and fry. So you can use it a lot of different ways. In the temperature ranges, it's really just two temperature settings. It's either 300 degrees Fahrenheit or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And the time range is basically as long as you want to run it. There's no timer, so it runs as long as you keep it running. And the dimensions of this cooker per Amazon are 14 inches in depth, 5 inches in width, and 8 inches in height. It has a 1.6 quart capacity, and that's 1.5 liters. And this inner pot here is ceramic, so that's pretty nice. Non-stick stuff there. Now the manual says in very large type clearly here at the bottom that it's intended for household use only. I'm going to give you a closer up view of that. It says it right there at the bottom in large type. It's intended for household use only. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's pretty large type. It's the largest type inside of the manual. It says it's intended for household use only. But in promotional material, they show it being used at a tailgate. So, you know, they show promotional material at a tailgate, but the manual says indoor use only. So, I don't know, maybe they're just saying they're not claiming responsibility if you have issues at your tailgate with it. I don't know. In those promotional materials, not the manual, but promotional materials on like websites and such, say that it can be used anywhere, like anywhere. So, there's a discrepancy there. Now, as we go further into this review, if it does reach a point that's not to your liking, there is the timestamp feature in the video description, also the chapters feature to advance to a point of your liking. Also here on the channel, there are over 900 videos relating to cooking and cooks, and that covers over 90 different cookers. So there's a lot here on the channel for you to enjoy. Alright, so now giving you a closer up view of things. Here is the handle that I mentioned has the heat controls. Basically it's got a 0, 1, and 2 there on the handle, so it's in 0 position there and that's off. 1 is 300 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 is 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That's basically all you get, and the inside gets hot accordingly. And as I mentioned, it's ceramic inside of there. That's where you plug it in with the power plug. The lid here, it's got glass here, and then it's like plastic on these other kind of ivory colored parts is plastic. And then there's the steamer insert I mentioned. It is plastic all around, all over it. And when you want to do steaming, you just kind of would set that up there like that. And then you can put your lid on if you want to put your lid on, and it fits on like that. So that's how you use the different parts. I want to go ahead and move forward with doing some independent measurements of things. And so using the tape measure here, let's see, I want to get from like this part, just going over the top to the end of the handle. We see 14 inches there. Yeah, it's about, yeah, it's just about, maybe a little over 14 inches, around 14. Doing this way, we get about 8 inches there. And let's see, for height, we get about just under 4 inches inside the pot. You're getting over 2 but under 3 inches, about 2.5 inches interior there. And so those are, you know, some pretty good measurements there of things. This steamer thing, that's about 2.5 inches as well in height. And you know, it's the same, well, the width here, interior width, under 8 inches there. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and get things plugged in here. So you plug it in the back here like that. Just get it plugged into the outlet, and it's in the off position. They mentioned that once you turn it to a temperature, you don't want to preheat it for more than a minute. You want to get your fluid, your food, whatever in there within the first minute after you turn it on, because they say the temperature rises quickly and you don't want to dry burn this thing by having it burning without anything in it. Alright, so now I'm going to do a temperature test real quick. I'm going to pour some water in here. That's 2 cups. And I think I'll put 2 more cups in. Okay, so another 2 cups. So we've got 4 cups of water in. And so with the water in, I'm going to push it up to number 2, the hottest temperature setting. So now it's on the hottest temperature setting. And now that it's on, I'm not seeing, is there a light there? I'm not sure. No, I don't think that's a light. Is that a light? No, that's not a light. Hold on. Let me check closer. Yeah, it is a light. You can't see it because of my lights, but there's a little orange light right here. I guess I'd have to turn all my lights off for you to be able to see. It's a very faint orange light right there that lit up when I turned it on. So I'm just going to wait a moment for the water to start boiling. Alright, the water is just starting to very minimally boil. I'm just starting to see very faint bubbles at the bottom, starting to bubble just a very little bit. This cooker is totally silent. I mean, 100% quiet. Any sound you hear is really just the water starting to faintly boil. So at this point, it has just started. I'm starting to see bubbles come up, and it's just starting to bubble just a little bit. I'm going to let it get to a nice roaring boil. Alright, things are bubbling pretty good in there. For 350, I'm not sure if it's going to get much heavier of a boil than is currently going. So I'm going to go ahead and do my temperature test here by way of putting a thermometer into the water to check the temperature of the water. And the water is reading just, it's not reading, not even boiling yet. I guess it's boiling down bottom, but the water itself is not reaching boiling. So, I mean, the water here in the center is not reaching boiling yet, and the thermopen is pretty reliable. So, you know, with this thermopen being reliable, I'm not sure why we're not getting a boiling water read. It must just be hot at the bottom, and then as it bubbles up, it's not, you know, at boiling temp as it comes up, this water here in the center. Let me check on the side. I guess if I touch it, just tap it on the side. I'm just going to tap it lightly, try not to scrape it. Yes, I just tapped the bottom. It's hotter on the bottom, but it's not reading a full boiling temp through that method there. And it is starting to boil a bit harder now. Let me just check again. Yeah, we're nearing 200 for the temperature of the water that I'm getting. So that's pretty interesting. I'm going to just feel around things, and so yeah, here on this pot, I mean, the pot is cool. I mean, it's a little warm, but it's, you know, it is a cool to touch thing. I could keep my hand there as long as I want. The countertop is not hot at all. The handle is cool, so the handle's perfectly cool. So that's pretty interesting how that works there. I'm just going to check one more time with the probe here. Now we're over 200 with the probe. So it is getting, the water is getting gradually hotter and hotter. It's boiling from the bottom up. So, you know, it's past boiling. down there and it's kind of coming up and the water all over is getting hotter. So that's pretty good. Alright, I wasn't sure if it would, but it is reaching a nice hard boil now. So I mean, regardless what the temperature probe may say, the water is boiling, it's very hot. I'm going to use a thermal imaging camera here now to check temperature and see what it has to say. And it's saying that in the middle there, where it's red, is really hot. And we see that it's reading about 210s, 212s. It's reading in the above 200 range for what's inside of the pot. And we see like around the pot is cool. You know, it's reading a lower temp there. So it is a cool to the touch pot. And just inside things are really hot. So it's still running there, and I guess that shows that it does, you know, get to a hot temp. It's because of its design, you know, I can't put like a temperature probe right on it and get a accurate read, but I do believe that it is going to probably its stated temperatures because we got water that's boiling very well. So I do believe it is hitting its target, even though I can't really get a good read through tools that I would do to read temperature on this. Alright, so now I'm going to do a toast test, see how I can basically grill up some buttered bread in here and see what happens. So I've got one slice of my light whole wheat sourdough bread here with some butter on it, and I'm going to go ahead and turn things to 350 position 2 and just go right ahead and put my butter side down right there in the pot and let that cook for a little while, and we'll see what happens. I'm already hearing some sizzle in the pot of the butter, so it is heating up very quick. There is some smoke emitting from the butter, you know, kind of boiling there, but it's nothing too bad. I think this is kind of like, you know, just like if you were using a stove top and grilling some bread or some toast or something. It's nothing, not a problem. So just letting it cook for a moment. I think I'm going to go ahead and just get it on out. Or actually, I'm just going to flip to the opposite side so I can get in here. Yeah, so just going to let it cook on the other side for a moment so that both sides get some cooking. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get the bread out of there now. It's been in there just for a little bit. So, turn it off. And so we see the bread here, you know, it got some searing. This was the buttered side, got some searing down here. So pretty good cooking. And then the back, we see the back side there. So, you know, it can grill you up a little piece of toast there in butter. Okay, so without cleaning things out, leave some of that old residue butter in there as is. I'm going to turn it to, let's see, I guess I'll do 350, and I've got an egg here, and just going to do a test of cooking an egg in there. We'll just see how long that takes to cook. I'm also going to put the lid on top to see if I can make it a sunny side up egg. Just taking a quick peek. Yeah, it's got a little bit more cooking to do, but it's coming along pretty good in there. And it's like, although I can see through the glass, it gets a little condensation on there, so just lifting the lid again, see things are coming along. Let's let it cook for a little bit longer, and I think it'll be ready. Check again. Yeah, it's almost done. It's like the yolk's kind of over here on the side, not fully cooked up yet. I think I might just have to flip it over, even though I had the lid on. I think I'm gonna have to flip it. You know, it's ceramic. It seems like the egg is getting a little stuck on there. Yeah, I just flipped it. Let that other side cook for a quick moment, and then I'm just going to leave the lid off and then get it on out. I think it's probably cooked pretty well on both sides now, so turn it off. So we got basically some egg toast. You see inside, it's kind of got some burnt on there. That, I guess I'll let it cool down. Oh yeah, that's coming off when I scrape it. So it's coming off. So that'll wash out. But you see that the egg, you know, that was cooked, basically popped the yolk, and we see the yolk is still, you know, got a little run in there if that's what you want. So some egg toast there. Okay, so we see after cleaning things out after the egg cooked, some of the egg still got a little stuck on there a little bit. And, you know, maybe that'll come off in future cooks and such, but some of it's still stuck, and I don't do anything other than just dish soap and a cloth and wiping normally to try and get things off. And maybe, you know, I use the spatula a little bit to try and scrape a little bit, but it's still, I mean, it's still pretty stuck in there, some of that stain. Alright, so now I've got some of my almond flour whole wheat pancake batter there. I'll put the recipe on the screen for a moment. And so now I'm going to turn the cooker to position 1, which is 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm going to take some of my extra light olive oil, which is not to be confused with other types of olive oil, and just spray it in there. It has a high smoke point. Just try and do what we can to make sure that things don't, you know, stick on there. And with that, I'm going to take some of my batter, try and make some pancakes here. Just put some of the batter in some areas in the pot and try and cook some little pancakes up. I guess I could cook one huge pancake. I'm going to do 2 little ones, and then I'm going to do a big one. That's what I'm going to do. So I've got 2 little ones in there. I just want these to cook up. And these will be the, I guess, kind of warm-up pancakes. And then I'll do just like a big one to do a huge pancake. But I hear things are already starting to cook. Alright, I'm going to see if maybe I can flip things over now. Just, yeah, I can. Pretty good. Alright. Flip that one. Try and flip this one here. I feel like maybe I should have just made a huge one to start. It's a little easier to just do a big one than trying to move around some little ones in here. Yeah, things are getting a little messy in there. I'm making a bit of a mess. Let me clean this spatula off a bit. Alright, I think this one may be done. Let's see. Yeah, I think that one's done. Let me try and check this one. I think this one kind of made a mess of it, so I gotta flip it again. I've got some mess on the side, so definitely going for the big one next. Let's see, yeah. Just want to get the rest of this cooked real quick. Alright, so I think that's cooked well enough, so I'm going to just go for the big one now. All things are still nice and hot in there, so I'm going to try and make one like the full size of the pot this time. Just spread it out, make it big and even across the whole bottom of the pot. There we go. Let that cook. Alright, it may be ready to flip at this point. You know, it's kind of like that. You don't want to flip too soon, but you don't want to flip too late, and it's kind of burnt to the bottom then. Yeah, I think it needs more time. Yeah, because I put a lot in there. Definitely needs more time. So I'm just going to give it a while and let it cook. I think we're going to increase the temp to the 350. Let it cook a little hotter. Alright, I'm starting to see some pullback on the edges, so I think we might be okay to flip now. I can get under there. Yeah, I think I got to get in and under there to flip. Yeah, so it's good. That's cool. Try and move some of the rest of that didn't get in on the flip. Try and get that off. Alright, give it a little time on that side. Alright, gonna try and get pancake out. Get in under there. Well, I'll just flip it out onto the plate. It's pretty big. Alright, got to turn this thing off too. So just turned it off. It looks like maybe some of my batter's still not fully, just a little bit of batter on the edge there. It didn't get cooked. But we see that inside the pot now, you know, it's cleaner inside, like the stain came off mostly. But we got a complete pancake here, so you see, you know, this side of it and that side. So it's able to cook a full pancake. Alright, so now I've got a salmon fillet here, and you can see the pot after cleaning after the previous cooks. Just a little bit of stain there, but I don't use any special stuff. I know about Barkeeper's Friend and all that, but I just use a dish soap and a cloth, and that's it. But I'm going to, oh, by the way, I've put some extra virgin olive oil, some organic no salt seasoning, and lemon pepper seasoning on that cut of fish there. So I'm turning it to the hottest setting, 350, number 2 position. I'm going to put it skin side down in the pot and going to just put the lid on and just let things cook for a while. Alright, things are getting cooked pretty good in there. I want to turn it over and get that top side cooked some too. I think the skin's starting to stick to the pot. No, just a little bit. But yeah. I'm going to take the skin off the back. That was real easy. Cool. Alright, now I'm going to flip it over again since I got the skin off it and cook the other side a little bit. I'm just going to let it cook like that for a moment. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and check the temperature real quick. And there's steam coming out, but no smoke really. Yeah, we're done. So pretty good. I'm going to turn it off. Get my fish on out. Alright, so I'll show you the fish real quick. You see that's the top side, and this was the back side where the skin was that I peeled off. Basically, when I flipped it over, it was real easy to get that skin off. It was like half coming off anyway, so that was pretty cool. And so it cooked up our fish pretty well. Alright, so after cooking the salmon, you see just a little bit of stain stayed in there up top here, just a little bit. So it does eventually come off, anything that gets on there in your future cooks or what have you. And so now I'm going to test cooking some oats. These oats, I've got a couple tablespoons of honey, a couple teaspoons of cinnamon, and a half a stick of butter, 4 tablespoons of butter in there with 2 cups of oats. And these are steel cut oats. These are not, this is not oatmeal. I'm going to put in 4 cups of water. So this is the first couple cups. Then a couple more cups of water here. And I'm going to go ahead and turn things on to 350. Let the water start boiling well. Then I'll start trying to get the oats and such in. Lord willing, I won't overfill the thing. But in order to not overcook things, what I'm going to do after it's really boiling well and I get the oats in, I'm going to turn it down once I see things bubbling well. Turn it down, we'll turn it off. And then let it stay off for maybe a few minutes or so, then turn it back on, let it bubble a little, kind of go on and off, switching back and forth since I don't have temperature control to go low enough to avoid things burning. I don't want to leave it on like 300 or 350. And I'll just do that with the lid on when things are cooking. So just going to wait for things to start boiling. Alright, let things get boiling really, really well. I'm going to try and carefully get the oats in there. So very slowly. Alright. And that is causing the water to stop boiling because, well, actually it is boiling still through it. That's cool. Alright, got all my oats in there now, just stirring things up a little. And things just fit. So that's good. Didn't overfill it. So I'm just going to let things basically set and cook for a while. I'm going to put the lid on here. I'm going to turn it down, we'll turn it off for a moment, and I'll just turn it kind of off and on periodically. Let it stay off for maybe a minute or two, then turn it back on. Alright, things have been cooking for a while, and I'm just going to turn it off and see how things are looking in here at this point. Yeah, things are looking pretty good. I think we're done. Yeah, I think we're done. I'm going to just let it kind of set and absorb some more of this water. There's just a little bit of water that it needs to absorb, but we're done. This is good. And initially I was turning it up to 350. I turn it off for a few minutes, then turn it back on to 350, and then I went to just turning it 300 because it was starting to boil pretty well either way. And so I'm just going back and forth and just letting it boil a little, then set. And even when it was turned off, it was still bubbling a good bit. The heat was staying in there pretty well. But yeah, I think we're good now. I think it's pretty well absorbed. Have a look at that oatmeal. Have a look at that. Let's see if I can get it closer. Look at that. That's pretty good. Alright, so after the last cook, you see inside after cleaning, just a few little specks up there at the top, but everything else is clean. And so now I'm going to test steaming. Just a little bit of carrots here. And I've got 2 cups of water, so I'm pouring my water into the pot here. Now that my water's in the pot, I'm going to put the steaming insert in. And I'm going to go ahead and toss those carrots all in there now. And put the lid on top. And I'm going to turn it to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. So the number 1 on the positions there. And I'm just going to let things go ahead and cook for a little while. I'm going to wait till I start seeing some boiling and then let them steam for maybe about 10 minutes. Alright, I'm not sure if it's boiling yet, but I'm seeing enough condensation build up here. I think things are starting to get a little steamy. So I'm going to let it go for about another 10 minutes from this point, and then I'll stop it and see what's going on in there. Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes or so of steaming there, and I'm just going to, while it's still cooking and I do feel the steam coming out, just going to test the, yeah, they're getting some good steaming, but I'm going to go ahead and stop it at this point. So just turn it off. Let me get the carrots out of here. And I could not hear a thing while this was cooking all this time. I mean, once I pull the lid off, I hear the water boiling, but before that I could not hear a thing. I didn't really see a lot of steam coming out, but I feel it when I put my hand. As soon as I put my hand over the lid there, I immediately felt the steam. So, you know, it's pretty low key on the steaming, but I mean, it does it. It does it well, but it's like, it's not going to make a bunch of noise or have a whole bunch of stuff that you see flying around. It's very low key in cooking it, but the carrots are done, and let me see if I can grab one. Yeah, they've got, you know, they're a little soft. They got like a little softness. They got softness, but still some crunch to them you can feel. So it did a good job steaming and didn't overdo it, so that's very good. Alright, so let's talk about cleaning the cooker. Nothing with this cooker is dishwasher safe. So you're going to have to wash everything by hand. And never immerse this main pot in water, you know, because it's got the electronics and all that stuff. And so you just want to use like a warm soapy dishcloth to clean things off, then a wet one wipe things down, then dry things off. And it cleans very easy. I mean, I've been cleaning between these cooks, no problems at all. And, you know, even though some things might stick on the bottom there now and then, it's not too bad. I do still see just a little bit there, even after the steaming on the bottom there. But I think, you know, maybe in time it'll come off, maybe not, but still, it does pretty well, and the ceramic is holding up pretty good overall. Now, don't use anything abrasive with the cooker when you're cleaning it. And, of course, when you're, you know, getting stuff in and out, when you're using it, you don't want to use anything abrasive or metal or anything that might scrape on the ceramic coating. Now if you need to do a deep cleaning, they do have instructions for that. Basically fill the pot with water, but not over a max line that is in the pot. And then you set the cooker to heat to the position 2, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and let the water boil, and turn off the pot after the water boils, and then give it time to loosen whatever's inside, and then you can empty and rinse out. So with that theory in mind, I shouldn't have anything on mine at the bottom, or it should be easy to clean off. Give me a second, I'll let you know how this goes. I'm going to try and clean it off real quick. Okay, so I cleaned it out, and basically there's just a little bit of speck, little teeny tiny bit of speck up there in the corner, but that's it. It did help, but just a teeny tiny bit more. I guess maybe that'll come out later, we'll see. But I think so. I think that's kind of how it goes with this ceramic coating. It's like things might get stuck on there, and if you're just not, trying to do anything really heavy duty to try and get it out, it'll be there for a bit, and then somewhere along the course of your cooks it'll probably come off. The ceramic coating stays in place, so eventually it pops off, and so it's pretty cool. And so basically, as far as the warranty is concerned, something interesting with basically, because warranty is what you get when you get the product and it has the manual warranty. This one has no warranty mentioned in any of the documentation. It's not in the manual that came with it. When you look on, like, let's say Amazon's website and you look for warranty, it says, well, check out the manufacturer and ask them. But when I was looking through their manual online, it mentioned a 5-year warranty, but there's no such documentation in what I received. So I can't rely on that as, what I saw online as my warranty, because that's not what I received. So what the warranty is, I'm really not sure. I really don't know, and I guess if I had a problem, I'd have to deal with that at that time and see how things go with the experience then. But of course, if any of you have any thoughts or feedback, you can leave that in the comment. Now, nothing in this video is sponsored, nothing given to me. I prefer it that way. And also, you can always help out. In the video description, there are lots of ways. Also, you can check out my blog, superwaveovenrecipes.com. Again, that's superwaveovenrecipes.com. In the video description, there's like buy me a coffee. That's also at my blog. Also, there's like membership, donations, and a lot of good stuff like that. Amazon shop where you pay the same price and help the channel. There's also my cookbook that you can buy if you want. And so the cooker, it did do everything that it was tasked to do, and it does a good job. I mean, for what it is, it did a really good job, and it did everything that you want to do. You can just kind of do it in a pot, and it's pretty good. So it worked out well. But if you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification icon, and good eating.